mwenyewe mwanamke kitendo kama hicho, lakini kulingana na venye serikali imechukulia hiyo matendo, imechukulia sana, imetupea hukumu nyingine ngumu sana, kwa sababu si kila mtu alifanya hiyo kitendo. Sasa sisi tumeumia, kama sijui nitasema tumeumia, like yani tumeumia generally kama watu wa pikipiki tumeumia sana, kwa sababu unapata mtu umefanya na pikipiki, hiyo ndo life, hiyo ndo imekuwa maisha yako. Ulipata pikipiki. Kenya tunajua Kenya ni Kenya, vijana wana kazi, hiyo ni ukweli yenye iko, vijana wana kazi na pikipiki ndio imekuwa ikiprovidea familia, kwa sababu mtu wote tu uko na pikipiki unapata wengi wako na familia. So kama mimi niko na familia, niko na mtoto, nimekuwa pikipiki imekuwa ikinipatia some income, hata kama si direct, hata kama ni for transport, inanipeleka kazi mahali ninafanya kazi. Lakini sasa hii imekuwa hata huwezi toka nje na pikipiki.
Ndio mimi nafanya hapa, mimi sifanyi bodaboda, lakini sisi tunafanya mambo ya delivery. Sasa delivery sisi tuna deliver sasa inahusiana nini na mambo ya bodaboda? Mimi sihusiki hata na bodaboda, sisi kazi yetu ya kudeliver.
So sasa hata watu wana deliver hawafanyi.
Ndio hizi unaona hiyo pikipiki unaona hapa nyuma, yote ni ya kudeliver. Sasa hatulivi sasa hii.
So wewe, maoni yako imekuwa affect kivipi now that mpaka watu wana deliver wametolewa kwa njia, even though hawafanyi kazi ya kubeba watu?
Sasa ni effect sababu sipate ya watoto ya chakula nini. Sasa nitafanya aje? Itachangia sasa tuanze tuende ngeta sasa.
So wewe unaona hii mambo ya watu kutolewa kwa njia inachangia mambo mingi sana?
Mingi sana. Inachangia mambo mingi sana. Sasa watu wote wataenda wapi? Pikipiki zimeajiri watu kama milioni. Sasa watu wachache wamefanya, sasa tumeaffectiwa wote. Delivery kama yetu tubebi boda, lakini ndio hii tunaaffectiwa. So unaona pikipiki kwa hapo nyuma yote hii ni delivery. Sasa tunaaffectiwa.
So Tobias, nilikuwa nikuulize maoni yako ni nini kuhusu watu wametolewa sasa hii, the boda guys hawayuko kwenye barabara?
Naweza kusema hivi, watu wa bodaboda si wote wabaya. Kufatana na ile kitendo imefanya wakatolewa kwa barabara, si wote walifanya, kwa sababu oda kutoka kwa mkubwa wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta akasema hataki kuona bodaboda, na wale walifanya hiyo kisanga walishikwa. Kuna wengine walikuwa mikora wakakuja kujificha kwa pikipiki. Hata mimi wameshaniibia simu na wako na tabia mbaya wengine, na wengine wanafanya kazi vizuri, waliokoka, wanajua Kristo ni Bwana. So mimi ndio kitu nitasema hivi, wale watarudi kwa barabara wawe na adabu, wajua hata mtu wa mguu ako na haki ya kutembea, si ati barabara yote ni ya bodaboda na magari. Hao tutakubali warudi kwa barabara, na tena wawache wizi. Kuna 3/4 ni wezi na hana DL, unasikia vizuri? So wahakikishe mtu mwenye atakuja kwa barabara ako na DL na ako na adabu ya kuheshimu hata bibi ya mtu, na wakae na ile roho ya utu, si ati anakugonga alafu nakupiga ngume. Hiyo tutakubali warudi kwa barabara, na kama hawatakubali hiyo wafungiwe kabisa, waende walime nyumbani. Asante.
Mimi naitwa Bernard Ondima.
So Bernard, mabodaboda wametolewa sasa hii kwa barabara na tumeona kuna effects mingi sana, so kila mtu ana maoni yake. So mimi nataka nijue wewe kama Bernard, maoni yako ni gani siku ya leo?
Maoni yangu, pikipiki zimetusumbua sana mingi. Wako na kitu ya kwanza, wako na kifuli. Ukiendesha gari ukimugusa, hata kabla hujamugusa kidogo ameanza kukutusi, anaanza kufanyia vitole hivi. Mara anakupiga, anaita wengine wenzake, wanakuwa wengi, wanaanza kukusambulia, wanakuiba. Lakini sio wengi walikuwa wabaya, lakini 3/4 ni wabaya. Kwa sababu hiyo miezi mbili wamepewa, watapata discipline, warudi kazi ya ndio mali wanajitegemea.
Nasikiza ukiwa wapi, uko getwa mtaani, niko na Yesu, uko na nani?
Right. That's what Kenyans have to say. Especially, tumeamua to have this topic because of what just happened recently, not less than 3 weeks ago, whereby there's this, diplomat who was attacked by boda riders simply because he had knocked one of the boda riders, and they actually ended up, sexually assaulting her. And actually it caused an uproar, on social media and every other place. And people didn't take this kindly. So Wanja, first of all, before we just get into the discussion, how was it, in the streets? Unajua ndio kwa streets, ukabonga nao say, unajua, were people quite positive about this, or most of them were just condemning the act, or just tell us the reaction. Ilikuwaje?
Actually, from the street, there was a lot and a lot. Now, to find out kwamba GBV is not about just sexually. Yeah. Most of them were talking about sexual, kukua abused on the road by someone. Just you're on the road and someone abuses you something. It's also GBV. Because it affects your mental health. And most of them were like, this is not supposed to happen. It's not something that we should normalize every day in our life. So GBV, you shouldn't say, I have to wait to be sexually harassed to feel unapitia GBV. It's just that assault that someone gives you. Hiyo kukutusi kitu yenye ifai. Hiyo msee anakuona nakwambia kitu pale kwa street. That is GBV. And most of them were against it. Most of them were so. Kuna wengi sana walikuwa wanasikia uchungu about the thing that has just happened in the country. And most of them were saying that as kama mayouth na watu ambao tuko huko nje, tume lose our roles as people, like tume our roles zenye tulikuwa nazo, zile virtues of just respecting someone the way they are, being there out of the streets and minding our business. Most of us these days, we go there at the streets and we say something, and then we don't know that what we are saying is actually affecting the other party. So from the street, a lot of people did not like the act, and most of them were mad. Some of them were even saying, watu wenye wameshikwa wasirudi tena, unaona. They were so mad, and I think we are speaking that from Revere Gospel and to everyone who is speaking out there. The goal today is we should stop GBV in any way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you want to fight for?
Yep.
Where kama mwanaume ambaye consent, you want to understand from the perspective, because actually for me I was more interested in understanding the psychology surrounding that, because me I didn't understand whereby this is just one woman. You will have chosen to just maybe even just hold her until the police come or whatever. Those were many men, there were many men just trying to harass her. She was screaming, she was so bitter, she's so traumatized, but people couldn't even stop. They just went on, It was so disturbing. I don't know if you have managed to watch that video. What would you say for you being, the man on set?
I did, and the act ilifanyika actually on Sunday, to be specific.
It happened
But
on Friday, not on
on
Friday.
Friday?
Yes, it happened.
Yes, on Friday. Oh, I actually on Sunday. That's when it happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was really, really, really traumatizing. I mean, ndasema tu kitu moja kulingana na vile the border guys on the streets walikuwa wanasema. Like wamesema like it's just some of them walikuwa wamefanya hivyo, of which it's not nice. Ina affect the psychology ya mtu, ina affect too, like, so na imagine ule the aitwa nani, the mama ataweza ku drive kule apite njia tena, ama the moment atakuwa na kwa hiyo gari akidrive anakumbuka tu like acha tu niombe tu Mungu nisigonge mtu wa motorbike. She'll be like,
I think as a country
atakuwa na hiyo peace, atakuwa na hiyo amani.
I think to some extent you have to decide kuchukua action into our own hands whenever there's a situation, instead of just waiting for law to take instead of applying the right way to deal with situations, tumama ku take actions into our own hands, and in the very in such a wrong way, in the sense that my biggest worry is tunaelekea elections, unaona, and this happened during it happened mchana. It happened mchana. People were watching, and the saddest part is that even society nowadays, if it's not your business, you don't care. Because my other concern was, how many people watched that happening? How many people watched that happening? Kwa sababu watu wengi walikuwa kulikuwa na magari zingine, it was kwa traffic. Wako ndani ya gari.
Kulikuwa na ule msana record pia.
Yes. Kuna mtu alichukua simu akapigia polisi. Kuna mtu what really happened, like that's my biggest worry, because I think tumekuwa society enye we no longer care what happens to your neighbor, what happens to your friend, so long as it's none of your business, it's no longer your business. And I think that's the biggest concern that needs to be addressed. Then there's something else that I also I think I need to put clear, in the sense that GBV, as you said, it's not just physical. It can even be emotional, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that maybe you're the lesser gender in the society, as people put it, or rather the society has put it, simply because you are the lesser gender, people now prefer to treat you in a way that you don't deserve to take certain positions, you don't deserve to deal with certain things. For instance, for the longest time, there's this, you know, mentality that, you know, women are not supposed to take certain positions in the society. If you're a woman, you're running for a leadership position, people tend to take it as if, you know, you're too bold, you're too strong, probably you don't deserve to be taken care of, or, you know, to have a man around your life, because you come out way too strong, and now they begin considering you less of, you know, a woman. Because mwanamke amejulikana for the longest time kama kiumbe ambacho, you know, it's soft, kind, but the moment you're bold and you want to fight for yourself, they are like, you know, that's not your role to do that and stuff like that. But I think we're living in a totally different society, in the sense that I think we need to respect every gender. There are even men who are being abused as well, and they might not be bold enough to come out, because pia society imeweka weka mwanaume unafuke ngumu, ufai kuingiliwa, ufai kufanya kitu chochote. Iki happen, kanyagia, lalia mse, kesho waamke, siku iendelee, si ndio? But I think that's we have a wrong perspective. We have a wrong mindset. We have a wrong mentality in the society that needs to be stopped in the best way possible. Na mimi nataka kujua kama mwananchi, where you're watching from. I really want to understand what would be your the best idea of how to deal with GBV, you know, in the society. Tutadila jenayo sisi kama youth, especially as the youth, because we are the future of tomorrow. Sindio? If it begins from the roots, from sisi wenyewe, I'm sure by the time the next generation is coming to pick up after us, they'll have learned from the best. They'll have seen what is happening in the world, and they learn from the best. So I just want to keep your SMSs coming on all our social media platforms at Look Up TV, and just let us understand what will be your ideal idea of how to deal with GBV in the society. But meanwhile, we just captured this, you know, interesting feature.
Yes.
Yes, we captured this interesting
it's very
feature,
interesting, you know? Actually. And guys, you should watch this one, because it's really captivating. This mama.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring.
God. Just take a look.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
My name is Pauline Juma. I am the founder and the director of Rebirth of a Queen. Rebirth of a Queen is an organization that aims to empower survivors of gender-based violence, that is from age 8 to 23. And our main project is a safe house. We run a safe house that supports survivors of gender-based violence through their healing journey. We give them a space just to be themselves, to heal, and also empower them. Just empower them and remind them that you still have your crown. It is just, maybe it was crooked, but you still have it. It is now your time to shine. It is your time to be yourself, and it is your time to forgive yourself for everything that happened. It's actually 2 years, 3 months since I started Rebirth of a Queen organization. You know, when I was a teenager, I went through gender-based violence. I went through sexual and gender-based violence at the age of like 16 years in Kibera slums. That is where I was born, that is where I was brought up, that is where my life was just before I moved out 3 years ago. And I went through sexual and gender-based violence. And from 16, from the time the perpetrators told me that if you dare speak, we are going to kill your mom. Sometimes I feel like, as much as the defilement was too painful, but for me the pain that I carried with me for a long time is the fact that I couldn't speak out to anyone. And the fact that I pretended to be okay when I was really breaking down. And the society felt like I was a rebel, because the only way I could protect myself was being a rebel. You know, wale wenye walikuwa naitwa kwa mtaa vichwa ngumu. So that is what I used to do, just being a rebel so that no one can see my pain. But every day you're waking up, every day you're walking, you see your perpetrators, and whatever they remind you, if you dare speak, we are going to kill your mother. And for me, from 16 to 23 years, I was just, let me say I was surviving life, because my life was in the hands of my perpetrator, because I chose silence. I chose silence because of fear. Every day you're waking, you walk on the streets of Kibera, you see your perpetrators, and they remind you of how worthless you are. They remind you of you'll never go anywhere under the sun or in life. For me, when I was 16, I felt like all my dreams had shattered, because I was a very jovial girl. All I wanted was to be a journalist. All I wanted was to move my mom out of Kibra. All I wanted was to travel the world. And then just one day, my dreams were shattered with just people who chose to defile me. And, for a very long time, I struggled with myself because I chose silence. And at the age of 19, I went to get married. And at that time, no one understood why I went to get married. Because for me, I wanted to get married to test if I could give birth. That was the reason I went to get married. But in marriage again, because I was an unhealed girl full of trauma, I went through violence again in marriage. And from then up to 23 years, my life was just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, this relationship, I'm out because I think I was looking for something that I couldn't find it in anyone else, and it was within me. And one of these days, I was writing a poem. In 2019 June, I was writing a poem. I love writing poetry when I'm hurt, when I'm trying to heal. Sometimes I feel like talking to people, it's too much, so I pour out my heart to poetry. And I was writing a poem of my 16-year-old self, because that is where I felt like life for me took a different direction. And I wrote a poem to that little girl, the 16 little girl, and I told her I wish I could go back to 16 again. I wish I could go back and make it okay again. I wish I could go back and not fear my perpetrator, but actually tell my mother what happened to me. Maybe I could have healed. Maybe I could be a different person. Maybe my mother could have helped me. And as I was writing the poem, I looked at the mirror and I addressed another letter to that girl I saw in the mirror, and I told her, "Dear Pauline, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're confident, and this is the rebirth of a queen journey." So for me, that is where the journey began, because I felt like for a long time, I had hidden my crown. I'm hiding my crown. I don't want anyone to know who I am. I just want people to see the rebellious side of me. And from the time I was little, I was a kind person. I was this girl full of dreams. So for me, I felt like I'm living a lie. And that is when I started Rebirth of a Queen by dedicating it to teenagers. Because by that time, I was still healing that girl. I was still healing a 13-year-old Pauline. I was still healing the 16-year-old, the 19-year-old. So I dedicated the organization to teenagers and young people as a way of giving them a space to heal. And in 2020, when the pandemic had just hit the country, that is when we opened our safe house. To be honest, sometimes I feel like this generation, we are doing a lot of work. We are doing work that was supposed to be done by our ancestors. And it's going to be so hard to end gender-based violence, but it's not impossible. Sometimes I keep telling myself that one girl that has come to the safe house, my prayer or my dream or my inspiration is to end gender-based violence with her. Let her be the last one. Let her children or her generation never go through gender-based violence because she has chosen to come out of it. I really don't know about the world, but I'm sure of the people that come to the safe house, and I put my hope in them that for them, GBV will end. But with the world, we have a lot of work. We have a long way to go, a long way. Silence is the worst enemy you can own as a human being. And to a woman or a girl, silence is the worst thing because the system is already against you. So if you keep silent, you're agreeing to the system. You're agreeing to the system that girls are not enough. You're agreeing to the system that your silence is what makes you beautiful. Bold people are told you're too aggressive. You have to be girly. You have to be. Punguza sauti, Pauline. That is what we are told out here. But when you're silent, you attract a lot of things. And one thing that I believe, and there's something my mom told me just this year while I was just thinking of ways we can improve Rebirth of a Queen. And she told me, Pauline, I want you to always remember that no one feeds a closed mouth. So when you're silent, you attract violence. When you're silent, you attract poverty. When you're silent, you attract intimidation. And when you're silent, that means your generation, that generation that comes after you, is going to face through more violence because you chose silence. And I can give from my example. I chose silence for a very long time. And trust me, the perpetrators that perpetrated me perpetrated other girls. And I think that is when I was triggered to speak, because I was like, this is too much. I can't keep silent while other girls are suffering. Maybe my voice can save them. And that is how liberation started for us. One girl just comes. Let me give an example of a girl. Most of them come in pregnant. That girl, you have to take her through medication. That girl needs to eat and eat well, because if there's one thing I don't like doing is treat people in a very lowly way. So when they come to Rebirth of a Queen, I keep reminding them, you're queens and you deserve everything good. So I strive to make sure they get everything okay when it comes to therapy, because you really don't want to live with traumatized people who have not been taught how to deal with their traumas. We are renovating a space to have an empowerment center that will be like a vocational training. We'll have fashion design, we'll have IT, we'll have media. I love media. One of the things that I know will transform the world is media. I don't know how, but I just know media will transform the world. So we are going to have media and we are going to have IT. And right now what we are really looking forward to, getting partners who can, if they can't donate funds, they can donate iron sheets, they can donate cement, they can donate building materials, they can donate computers, they can help us renovate the space, because we are fortunate enough that this year we are moving to our own permanent space. So we'll not be paying rent, we'll just have our own space. And we welcome every Kenyan or anyone who really wishes to support us. And let's do this work together, because I believe together we can actually go far.
Right. That's both a sad and a beautiful story right there. You know, it's not every day that you find people who have been victimized in one or another and they're confident to come out and just speak about it. She just narrated a story and how she managed to just get past that situation. It wasn't easy for her, but she used what happened to her to inspire others, you know, across the country. Now she has she runs her home, a safe house for individuals who have been victimized as well. That includes children, men and women. It doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you feel that you can rely on her in one or another. That's what she does. And I think she's just one among the beautiful stories that are being told across the country. There's so many people who are trying to do one thing or the other to just, you know, help a fellow citizen get past a challenge they have gone through. Sindio? So, DJ 1254, what's your take? DJ 1254? Yeah. Yes.
Maybe bado nimeguzwa na hiyo story, that's why unaona na niko this mood, nimeingia kwenye mood na nimeona text fulani hapa from Kelly anasema it's a very very nice feature there, and anasema it's an inspiration to other people. They should come out and speak about GBV. Yeah. So like I told you before we went to watch this video, nilikwambia hii video ni poa sana, but me I like the fact that this lady is Cecilia is very very bold to come out and speak about what happened to her and encourage other young people, because nasikia alisema she got married at 16. Imagine at 16. So imagine at 16 you get married, unapitia through GBV, gender-based violence, then utoke hapo tena uende kwa another marriage.
And it doesn't work, you know.
Tena unapitia the same thing. So I think she's a hero. She's a hero and
she's a hero in one
congrats to her, man. Keep pushing wherever you are. Keep pushing. We'll support you. And wanaume ama watu mnafanya hizi vitu manze, hey, tusifail kama society. Let us keep as an example, kwa sababu sisi wanaume most of the time sisi to the head, not the tail. Okay? So tunafaa to lead as an example, ndio watu wengine wa follow, because this has to stop actually from me. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, there's certain things that I'm learning from her story. You know, she's just among the strongest people who have been confident enough to come out and speak about it. Some people might not. There are those who decided to commit suicide. There are those who decide that it's becoming their permanent problem for the rest of their life. They're never going to speak to anyone out there. There's where again I come and say that I think it's our responsibility to stop gender-based violence in any way, you know. And GBV doesn't necessarily mean physical. As I said earlier, there is more to that. You know, someone can just torture you, you know, emotionally. Whatever they tell you, you know, every day of your life, you feel like, you know, you don't fit in a certain society. You don't fit in whichever job position that you're doing. You just don't fit, you know. And it's not because actually you don't qualify. Maybe probably it's just the fact that maybe you have a lot to learn. You have a lot to still work on to get to wherever you are, but it doesn't mean you're a loser in one way or another. Sindio?
Yeah.
Wanja.
And there's something here checking about her story, the future that she may have. The one thing, the key thing that she said was in the beginning of GBV, she was very silent. Like, hangeongea na mtu, hangesema, those people are threatening me. You see, she was silent about it. And one day she woke up and she was like, my voice can change. So, you know, she was saying GBV is still happening. And there are a lot of people who are very, very silent. They are very silent because of the fear. Na kitu moja alikuwa anasema, fear ina bring about, unafanya watu wengine hawatasaidika. So, aliamua come out, ndio at least akikuja out, maybe her voice changes someone else. That's why tunasema, those people who are there, those people who are watching, maybe you're going through GBV and unajua mtu akienda go through GBV kuna ile fear ya how will people say? How will people think of me being raped at 16? How will people think of me just going through gender violence? You know, it's embarrassing some point, and a lot of people decide like, let me just keep quiet. I cannot tell someone that my dad did this, my boss did this to me, you see. Or I fear losing my job and I cannot come out and say because now nikiwaambia nita lose job yangu. You see. So your voice can change people's voice in that office. Maybe si wewe peke yako kwa that office. Maybe you speaking out, you are bringing about watu wengine wataongea.
Kabisa. But I have a problem pia because we get pia nilikuwa nasikia from her story actually. She was saying like alikuwa the people who did that to her walikuja wakimwambia if you say it, remember she was 16.
We're going to
so from 16 to 19 she's just a young person, not good. So walikuwa wanamwambia if you tell this to anyone we'll kill your mom. You get wanakutishia like I don't know because sometimes mtu anakutishia to an extent inakuwa too hard.
It's hard. We still have discussions going on. Keep SMSs coming. We're here to just get your ideas of what you think about GBV and how best to curb it in the society today. But meanwhile, we're going to just give you or rather spice your weekend with, you know, new songs that have just been released probably the course of this week. Now maybe kama utaisikia mara